suit, you Miss Cushion. But it's nice to see you out of there.
Sarah? Sarah? Oh.
Yes, of course it is.
Body snatchers strike in North London. Are we dealing with a modern version of Burke and Hare?
Well, sadly, the anatomy schools don't need the help of body snatchers at this time of the year. They're well stocked with corpses from the poorhouses.
What do you think they're?
I don't know. Some outlandish cult, perhaps? Have you been consulted on the subject, Holmes?
Come in, Hawkins!
Ah, Hawkins.
Make yourself at home. Have a cup of coffee.
Thank you.
Have you brought those descriptions?
Yes, I have. Body is so far exhumed. Albert Cotter, 48, youth. Jimmy King, 39, Covent Garden porter, cerebral hemorrhage.
Could be a man.
One more thing, Mr. Holmes. The men and I would be very honoured if you'd drop by Christmas Eve. We try to get a bit festive at Christmas, and we like to invite a few guests.
Mary? Mary?
How am I supposed to think up yet another present for Watson? I mean, every year you inflict this agony on me.
Well, it's quite simple, Mr. Holmes. You go to Gamage's.
Damages?
Yes, it's in Holborn, a departmental store. The People's Emporium.
How dare you take my aspidestra?
I do dare.
You have not. When you're in the house, if you would keep to your room.
Your sister Sarah gave me permission, madam.
This is my house, not my sister's. Even if she said it, which I doubt.
You doubt my word?
I'd be most surprised if my sister gave the run of the kitchen to my lodger.
You'd be surprised what your sister gives. Very surprised.
I think at the mission.
Now you ask her what she gave me.
Did you give Monsieur Jacotet permission to help himself in here, in the kitchen? What do you mean? What's going on?
Ask her. You English are such hypocrites. Now you tell her what you gave me.
I see. I see. Very well. You are warden now. Go and live there, then. You'll have quarters at the mission. Go there. I don't want you under my roof. Go. I won't have you here. I won't. And as for you, monsieur, you will leave my house immediately. Immediately, or I will call the police. Your belongings will be packed and left at the tradesman's entrance for your collection. How dare you!
You sound exactly like Mother.
What if I do?
I thought I'd heard the last of that sort of thing when she died.
How dare you talk about Mother like that? It's just as well I am like her. I don't know what would happen to this family otherwise.
Oh, you hold us all together, do you? How splendid you are.
Do you realise that Mary has gone away without telling anyone?
Good. She's showing some spirit at last.
You call that good? Sometimes I think you're not just feckless, I think you're deliberately irresponsible. Mary is a married woman.
Well, no thanks to you. You stood in her way to the last. Jim Browner was never good enough for our family, was he? The daughters of Major Cushing, R.E. Never mind, he was a gambling wastrel. Our father was so...
Quiet. You are so horrid.
Ah, dear Mrs. Holmes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Oh, the doctor has someone with him, a Miss Susan Cushing.
Oh, then will you bear on this?
This is...
Miss Cushing is concerned about her sister, Mrs. Browner.
Pray, continue.
Miss Cushing's younger sister lives not far from her, just east of Camberwell. Mrs. Browner visits her every Friday for tea, unless she sends excuses, which is most unusual. Last Friday, the 19th, Mrs. Browner failed to send excuses or to arrive. So Miss Cushing has made inquiries at her lodgings, but Mrs. Browner has not been seen there since last Thursday.
Sounds to me as though she's disappeared.
Evidently, Holmes.
There could be one or two reasons for her disappearance.
Yes, I know. Either because she wished to disappear or because somebody else wished to
Teachers, everyone loves her.
As to her whereabouts, I suggest that you try the Missing People's Agency.
I could find you a list of addresses.
There. Ah. Charming, isn't it? Slight improvement on that rather sad Piscean Excelsior.
Sarah.
What possessed you? You've wrecked it all.
The waiting possessed me. You drive me mad, Sarah. Sometimes I think I'm possessed.
Where are you now?
Some filthy hole near the hospital. Thanks to your sister. I will not let her forget this.
I'll need a reference if you're going to find a decent place to stay. Are you going to Belgium still for Christmas?
Yes, my uncle near our stand.
Well, when you come back, I'll write a reference for you. I'm warden of this place. It'll count.
Have you?
Come to me after Christmas.
Post, Miss Cushing. Shall I put the parcels under the tree?
Yes, please.
Nothing from Mrs. Browner yet?
Nothing as yet, no. Thank you.
Miss Cushing. I say Miss Cushing. Sorry.
Mr. Bradbrook.
I dare say your sister Sarah will be joining us.
I'm afraid not, Mr. Bradbrook. She's warden of the Mission Hostel now. Her duties to her residents will keep her there. I shall see her only on Sundays now, I fear. There's a treat somewhere for him.
Welcome, gentlemen. Very good of you to come.
Gull, has he been arrested?
No, Mr. Holmes. He's come to complain.
Has indeed.
Yeah, he spotted our surveillance of him. He doesn't like it.
You won't go up.
Oh, dear me.
Well, I had to try it. What's so good about it is it stretches forward over the handlebars if you need it. Where else did you find it?
Damages, People's Emporium. Thank you. Hi, magnificent. Parkins, so do come in, dear fellow. Please, sit down. What is the news of the grave robberies?
The Camberwell force have been onto me. An incident down there. They were wondering if it had any connection. I don't think it does myself, but I value your opinion, Mr. Holmes. We need to get this nasty little joke solved and out of the way.
Joke?
Respectable lady, in company, opening up parcels, Christmas Eve. One of them's a bit odd. It's full of salt. She empties out the...
An individual's thoroughly callous.
Well, she threw him out just before Christmas. Bit of a row, apparently. Well, a Miss Susan Cushing.
Oh, Mr. Holmes, have you come to help me find Mary after all?
I'm afraid not, Miss Cushing. The inspector has asked me here to look into that other unfortunate business.
Oh, that. Well, I won't have those things in the house, Mr. Hawkins. If you wish to see them, you must go to the conservatory. Have you arrested that wretched young man yet?
Just a matter of time, Miss Cushing.
Postmark Harwich?
No. Now, this student fellow, Jacketay, was going home for Christmas to Ostend via Harwich.
Yes, I agree with you. Harwich is persuasive. The writing is poor, uneducated. I know the medical profession is notorious for its illegibility, but this... read with a broad nib pen. Very inferior ink. Hard twine. Stockholm tile. Knots intact.
A ring has been torn from this ear. They're not a pair. I suppose it'd be rather easier for Jacketay to have abstracted ears from a dissecting room which were not actually a pair.
To what purpose?
I know, some kind of disgusting practical joke. Formaldehyde. Damn it, it should smell of formaldehyde.
And it does not. This is no practical joke. This is a serious crime.
I thought it was Mary.
I come to take some more of my things. I bought you a present before we argued. You may as well have it.
I don't want it. I don't want it.
What's the matter with you? Take it. Let's preserve the proprieties at least, sister.
Proprieties? You dare to talk about the proprieties? You've flouted the rules of society all your life. And you had the effrontery to accuse me of interfering with Mary's marrying that man.
Didn't you?
What did you do?
What did I do? I did nothing.
You know what you did. You introduced Mary to other men, corrupting her. Mary has told me in her innocence.
She accused me.
Mary accuses no one, you know that. But I see your hand in her unhappiness.
Nonsense.
Why did Jim Browner start drinking again? He signed the pledge for Mary. That's what brought them together. Drink by your meddling.
Hello, Sarah.
Mary wasn't expecting you till much later.
Oh, I managed to catch the tail end of the float, saved the whole time. She's not here, then?
No, old Mrs. Cooper's not well again. Mary's with her.
You help her a lot, don't you? That's nice.
You know why I help her, I suppose?
What?
Why I'm always round here.
Well, you're a sister.
Can't you be happy for 5 minutes without her, Jim? Here. Make yourself useful. Drop the side, then.
What?
Will you drop this and bring it up the other side?
What do you mean? Mary doesn't do that.
There are plenty of things Mary doesn't do, I dare say. Look, I'll show you how to do it, shall I? Now. No, come on. You take this corner. Right. Now, you drop this. And you bring it up the other side.
You do it yourself. That's not for me. I want no part of that. Pushing women's work at me. You keep that to yourself.
Mr. Holmes and the other gentleman to see you, madam.
As long as they don't bring those things near me.
And where is he now?
Mr. Browner was on the South American line when he and Mary married. But he was so fond of her that he found time.
Why was that?
I didn't think a sister of mine should be marrying a steward.
You mean they weren't?
Well, they were, at first.
What happened?
Perhaps you should ask Sarah. She practically lived there for a while.
Which ship is Mr. Browner serving with at present?
The May morning. She sailed on the 17th for Belgium and Holland. They were in Rotterdam over Christmas. The crews draw lots, and Jim was unlucky this year. Mary was to have spent Christmas with Sarah and me.
And now Sarah, of course, is warden at the mission. Are you sad not to have her living with you still?
Yes, I am. Well, to tell you the truth, Mr. Holmes, things are not well between us.
You've quarreled? What about? It may have a bearing on what has happened to your sister Mary.
I know that. Of course it does. Do you think I don't know that? I blame her for everything.
Sarah?
Of course. Sarah. She spent far more time than was necessary at Mary's lodgings. Jim and Mary were just married, making their own life, making their own friends. Then Sarah introduced Alec Fairbairn to them. I know it was not generously done. Sarah seemed to want to shame Jim Browner. I don't know what Jim had done to Sarah, but she seemed to hate him. I believe that...
You believe what?
Ask her. Ask Sarah. She's here in the house collecting her things. Ask her if she did not mean Mary to go off with Alec...
Café, monsieur?
Thank you for your help, Inspector. It's very difficult, Mr. Holmes. We can't ignore the evidence. What have we... He was in Harwich on the 19th. That's as good as you get.
Your logic seems foolproof, Hawkins.
Thank you. Well, yes. This other matter, then, Mr. Holmes, you've clearly got some thoughts on that, haven't you?
It is my belief that a member of Dr. Watson's profession, possibly of some distinction, has ever stepped the mark. The corpses all belong to pugilists, amateur or otherwise. What is the unfortunate characteristic of boxers?
As if they're drunk. Slurred speech, loss of memory, and so on. They become punch drunk.
Precisely.
And their judgment. Sir Marcus Lanyon. I'll wager a month's salary on Sir Marcus. That's precisely his speciality. And he's impatient of fault, ruthlessly impatient.
There you have it, Inspector.
Down like this ever since you got back here this afternoon.
Miss Cushing, why did you quarrel with your brother-in-law, Mr. Browner?
What? Who are you? What are you doing here?
This is Sherlock Holmes. He is investigating the disappearance of your sister Mary.
She's gone off with Alec Fairbairn, that's all.
Why?
She had become frightened of her husband.
Why?
Jim Browner was a drunkard. He offered her violence. He was beneath contempt.
What is your explanation for the 7 years, Miss Cushing?
You saw that cardboard box at your sister's house. Those 7 years were meant for you, were they not? The message was for you. You understood what they meant.
Marcel Jacotet sent them. He told me he might do something.
Gulls outside.
Excellent.
I've been to the shipping line offices too.
And?
It's as you thought. The May morning set sail from London for Den Helder on the 17th. But a hogshead got loose in her hold. She sprang a plate and had to put in for repairs.
To Harwich?
To Harwich. The crew were given leave on the 18th. The May morning left late on the 19th, the day the parcel was posted.
Jim Browner came off the ferry at Ramsgate at 7 o'clock this evening.
Good. I knew I could rely on you.
And I can rely on you, can I?
Oh, you can? Does the name Sir Marcus Lanyon mean anything to you?
It might.
He will be warned off. And the orders from which you have been, Mr. Gull. You know that sailors deliberately do not sharpen their knives?
In case of accidents.
Found his wife with Fairburn. He followed them. He murdered them both. He severed an ear from each and sent them, as he thought, to Sarah Cushing. For her to know that the 7 ears were for her and not for her sister.
Well, that being the case, because the Christmas holiday is still on. Do you realize Browner could have caught a much earlier train?
No, I did not know.
Look on me kindly. Whatever I did for you.
It was you. You poisoned her mind.
I did it for you. They have arrested the lodger. I told them he did it. They suspect nothing of you, Jim. You can get away.
Get away? You think I can get away? Put it all behind me, you think, do you? Are you mad? It is me! It's in here! Every last moment of it. Comes out of the daylight at me. It goes on and on. I tell you, I dare not shut an eye and sleep since the day. I'm never without one or the other before me. May the blood rot in your veins, Sarah Cushing.
No! No! I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you.
I believe you do. I'll tell you something. I'd rather have one kind word from her I've killed than all your love. I'd rather see her breathing 1 minute more than a lifetime of what you could give me.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that.
She loved me. That's the root of the business. But she knew. I thought more of my wife's footprint in the mud than I did of her body and soul. When I dreamt it.
And after he'd rejected Sarah's advances?
I never said a word to Mary, for I thought it would grieve her. Then I began to see a change in Mary herself. My wife had always been so understanding. Now she was suspicious of everything I did. We began to row about nothing. I didn't see it then, mind. Well, then I broke my blue ribbon and began drinking again. So Mary had some reason to be disgusted with me now. And then this Fairburn fella chipped in. He was a dashing, swaggering sort of a chap. Smart and curled, educated too, I reckon. He could talk, he could. Blind I was. It was a little thing put me onto him. I came into the parlour unexpected one day, and as I came in, I saw the light of welcome in my wife's eyes, but when she saw it was me, she turned away with a look of disappointment. There was no one but Alec Fairburn whose step she could mistake for mine. I tell you, from that moment on, my peace was gone. Sarah was in the kitchen. I went straight through and I told her that if Fairburn ever set foot in my place again, I'd send her his ears for a keepsake.
I believe I could wish you had committed this deed of yours in France. They acknowledge the crime of passion there.
You won't let them leave me alone, will you, sir? I don't like to be alone, see?
Your turn. Won't be a minute.
She made it go wrong, didn't she? And you never thought of anyone but me. Did you, Jim? She loved you and she made me hate you. Yeah. It was as if you had a secret, you see. She made me think the worst.
The secret was her loving me.
You should have got rid of her from our lives, Jim.
I know. But I thought it would hurt you. Look at this now. I was stupid. Like this a beetle.
what is the meaning of it, Watson? What is the object of this? For our universe has no meaning, and that is unthinkable. But what purpose? Reason so far has no answer.